The speaker, the general speaker, they are playing. Tomorrow, we can say you know what I feel? Why is that doing?
Touch on the issue of the threshold bill that was passed recently, and then a motion of reconsideration was taken by one of our colleagues, which sparked heated debate around here. You know, on the 9th of December 2025, the House of Representatives passed on this bill and sent it to the Senate for concurrence. This bill was crafted following the submission of the 2022 census result, which puts Liberia's population at around 5.2 million plus. And this submission was done to satisfy the constitutional requirements that are in 80D. It says each constituency shall have an approximately equal population of 20,000 or such number of citizens as the legislature shall prescribe in keeping with population growth, a movement as reviewed by the National Census.
It's Magella Cooper. I'm the senior political advisor to His Excellency Joseph Boakai, President of the Republic of Liberia. But I also happen to be the spouse of the Speaker.
The example of our President, His Excellency Joseph Boakai. This is why we are here. Let me be on record. This is the national anchor of the Republic of Liberia. That is the nucleus of Liberia. Go. Everything that Liberia needs to reflect on the historicity how Liberia was built, we have it here. But the central government has forgotten about it. And we'll continue while who is free. Mercy. And the war will hear us.
Coming from the executive.
I say, I don't know why the president chose to think about football academy right after the exit of the footballing president. President Boakai had never, I don't think he even played in his elementary school. To sit and decide that you're going to play a football academy, something that was being done by President Weah, who is celebrated around the world as who is celebrated in Africa. We think that is a serious challenge. That's a serious challenge. Everyone should watch that, because if this woman go ahead and build a football academy, and when he background in football after the exit of the football president, that clearly fathers football was not a priority on George Weah.
Allotted, approved by the legislature. If you spend $10 million on a government project, which institution funded it? It also lends credence to some of the things people have said, that some of the money hitting the budget. For example, they're spending $1 million for Foya Hospital. What's the population of Foya? $1 million for Foya Hospital, but there are more people in Basso. There are more people in Magidi. So how do you allot money? There's a lot more money being spent for Kolahun Hospital. And there is also money being spent for current hospital in Zozo. So this year's budget spending almost on hospitals in Foya. Are they giving those money, in Lofa, are they giving those money to go back for it and spend on other projects?
American, distinguished colleagues, I want to say good morning to every one of you, and thank God that we're in 2026. I mean, this is a very pleasant morning. All we can say, we want to tell God thank you for life. He has given us another breathing space. However, I am reminded of the conversation that was in the chat room yesterday where the speaker validated that Cecilia Bokun is his biological sister. That leads us to the fact that Richard Kun, at this point in time, you should recuse yourself, that you have committed crime under our marital law, the domestic law of this republic, that incest is a crime. So until we get reasons why you marry your sister, I think you have lost legitimacy to preside as speaker. So it is just the right thing for you to recuse yourself. And one thing, there are a lot of colleagues calling me and say, oh, you're from the fanatic of blood, they fire, you're not supposed to be commenting, you're not supposed to be talking. There is not a no damn blood thing that we're talking about. We're talking about the credibility, the image of the house that represents every one of us, the legislature as a body. Do you know what happened? That a woman is claiming that she got a marriage divorce certificate from the civil law court. The reputation of our judiciary is placed on a question. Now the executive is also placed on a question. The legislature is placed on a question, and the lives and the status of our Liberian brothers and sisters in the United States of America now being in danger. I mean, this is a grave allegation. I'm hoping that our dear speaker can do the right thing. I'm not talking about removal or Richard Kun. I'm only saying he should recuse himself, because they are also saying the woman fake document and blah, blah. Have credible information. The documents will be available today that, pictorial evidence will be out that you did marry and you exhibited acts of husband and wife. And if those papers are provided today from now to 12 o'clock, I think Richard Kun will not be speaker anymore.
Now, what is the big news?
The big news in the corridor. Are you people planning to remove the speaker?
But this is not a speaker house.
Are you one of those?
This place is not a speaker office. It's not a personal property. It's not anybody's personal property. Anybody who falls below the belt in terms of legislative proceedings and or requirement, obviously it behooves the members to ask you to step aside.
Do you want the speaker out?
No, I'm saying to you now, if you perform below the belt, it behooves the members to step aside.
Is it the speaker? Performing below the belt?
No, he's performing.
Okay, so
He's
you don't want
performing.
me out.
No, I'm not.
Those that connect our farmers to markets, roads that connect our children to school, who left because Liberia failed you, but whose heart never left home. This is your Liberia. So I'm asking you, no, I'm calling you to join us. Join CMC, not because we have all the answers, but because together we are the answer. Sign up, volunteer, donate what you can, share this message to your neighbors. Be the change you have been waiting for. 2026, the year of change. The year we stop waiting. The year we start to build. The year we take back what is ours. Liberia first, citizens empowered for the people, by the people. Happy New Year, my people. The awakening has begun. God bless you and God bless the people and the republic.
These kind of words we live in today. I got a letter from Obama from his foundation. He sent me notes. And then he sent this note and then in the note they said President Obama. And so then somebody is telling me, why you always call George President? I said, I don't even like to talk to people like you. He said, why? I said, because we're not writing to people like you. I said, I got 3 different degrees. I've been meeting people globally. And in their mind, they know I'm on their level. That's why they're talking to me. If you went there, you got to wait in the car. I'm not talking to you on my page. Just find something else to do. I'm talking to President George. Didn't you watch the inauguration? Before they inaugurated this man called Donald Trump. Before they inaugurated him, they announced all the presidents called him president. I don't know where they were. People were asking me, did not watch that. Here comes President Bill Clinton. Here comes President George Bush. Here comes President Obama. They were naming those people elect systematically until they all took their seat before they announced the president-elect. And people are here in this little small country, 5 million people, most of whom haven't even written any paper on their own wall, when they post pictures, and they are telling you, don't call George president. You have a problem? And if you are pathetic, I'm not
I went to the foreign ministry. They say I need to have a letter from the chief clerk's office.
You're not being bothered being all of the buildings say you're there out?
Well, I've not made an attempt to come here, but I got emergency. I need to go and see my family. So, I'm done.
I can't stand no more, cause I'm a fool. I cannot go to school, cause no more money. I can't stand no more, cause I'm a fool. I cannot go to school, cause no more money. Hey yo, excuse me, Mr. Journalist. I wonder how you make your headlines in the press release today. Although I read the news every day, but I'm really still getting confused now. And I just wanna ask you some questions. Oh, is it based on money? Is it based on presidency? Is it based on technology? Is it based on war? Tell me, we are major headlines.
A pleasant good evening and welcome to the Roundtable on Wizz TV, the platform that informed discussions, your platform for informed discussions, critical analysis, and national dialogue on the issues shaping Liberia today. I'm your host, William McGill, and tonight we'll focus on two major developments across the city of Liberia, making headlines across our country. First, we will, look at the Monrovia City Court situation there coming in from, Assistant Minister for Technical Services at the Ministry of Information, J. Rufus Poor, over allegations of persistent non-support involving his wife and minor child. The case has raised serious legal, moral, and public accountability questions, especially concerning the responsibilities of public officials both in office and at home. Secondly, we will look at growing frustration over Liberia's unstable electricity supply that has prompted the House of Representatives to summon Liberia Electricity Corporation Managing Director Mohammed Sharif to explain the continuing power outages affecting homes, businesses, hospitals, and schools nationwide. So tonight, we hoping to have our panelists on as well as we examine the legal, social governance implication surrounding these issues, while also discussing the broader impact on the ordinary Liberian. Stay with us as we take a break. The facts ask the difficult questions and provide perspective that matter, the most. This is the round table on Wizz TV. So stay with us, and we'll be right back.
Stories. You've been rocking stories from rock of ages. Keep rocking stories about people who not too concerned. We got a lot of people in the ghetto, people on the block, people in the street. If y'all know what I know, follow me, and I'll take you to places where people are suffering. We got lame people, blind people. I mean, people that in need, man. People too much in need. Come on, yeah. How many people do you love, man? How many people do you cherish?
How many people do you love out there, and how many people do you actually cherish? And we like to say welcome back to the program. Today in politics, we will take a look at few history in politics, and we will go ahead and run through with the program right here on the round table where we were in 1808, the 10, the 17, today in politics, political rights of Jews were suspended in Duchy of Warsaw. That's Poland, right? And also 1815, May 9, 1815, Congress of Vienna ends after reshaping the political map of Europe. So that is it there for politics. We run through international news making headlines across the globe, Africa, and we can move on to our talking points as well. Uganda's president soon in for the second, that's the seventh term. So let's just take a gist of this. Uganda's president, Yoweri Museveni, who is 81 years old, has been sworn in for a record seventh consecutive term following his landslide victory in disputed elections in January, extending his tenure as one of Africa's longest serving rulers. So this is almost like a kingship, and should we say monarchy form of government? I don't know. But yeah, seventh term in office as a president. And is this some sort of rule that you just stay there until almost like death do us part? But that is happening in Uganda's political situation, and you have heavy security, including armored tanks. They were all deployed in the capital, Kampala, ahead of the inauguration today, in what police say were measures intended to maintain public order. So we would slide over to Kenya, where France seeks to move beyond colonial ties by meeting African leaders in Kenya, and it comes from the British Broadcasting Corporation, accused of neo-colonial melding in many African countries where it has traditionally had close ties. France is bundling its horizons by co-hosting a summit of African leaders in English-speaking Kenya for the first time. Speaking at the Africa Forward Summit in the capital Nairobi on Tuesday, French President Emmanuel Macron repeatedly spoke of co-investment and equal footing partnership as he described shared challenges including security, economic dependency, and geopolitical competition. So you have Kenya's President William Ruto, who is co-hosting the two-day summit, share his sentiments, and adding that Africa must help shape the emerging global order rather than remain in its margin. So Macron announced investment of $27 billion in euro. This would be like $20 billion and 20 billion euros in Africa in areas such as energy transition, digital and AI, the maritime economy, and agriculture. So countries will be benefiting, African countries, right, will be benefiting from the $27 billion being announced there by French President Emmanuel Macron. And we head over to South Africa as we brief you with these things before we run through the program, the roundtable. We run out to South Africa, where South African president says he will now to step down after impeachment call. So you have Cyril Ramaphosa says he will legally challenge a report that has paved the way for Parliament to consider impeachment proceedings against him over the theft of large sums of cash for his private farm. A constitutional court ruling last week found that Parliament acted unconstitutionally when it voted against establishing an impeachment inquiry against Ramaphosa regarding the Pala Pala report in 2022. So this is what the president of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, said. He said, "I remain here and I'm not resigning." Ramaphosa said on Monday, any days of speculations over whether he will step down as the country president there. So that is it from Cyril Ramaphosa. I think we better now in terms of the echo. You can help us share this broadcast to as many people as you can as we go ahead with the program, the round table here on Wizz TV. My name is William McGill, and it's great to be on here as we still run through news coming in from across Africa. Before we get into our discussion, we also hoping to have our panelists who will also join us on the program tonight. And there in Nigeria, dozens of Nigerian fishermen are feared dead after Chad's military launched airstrikes on Boko Haram militants in Lake Chad region. The local fishermen's leader has told the British Broadcasting Corporation Abubakar Damandi Usman, chairman of Lake Chad Basin Fisheries Association of Nigeria, said several of the union's members were missing and estimated more than 40 had died. No bodies have yet been recovered, but Usman believes some fishermen were hit by the strikes, while others ran after attempting to flee in overloaded boats. So that is exactly what's happening in Nigeria, and good that we are basically bringing this into your face to be able to understand the situation coming in from Nigeria as well. And and lastly, um, let's take this coming in from sports. There in Ethiopia, an Ethiopian marathon runner, Melis Das, age 36. So, Melis, the winner of marathons in Houston, Perk, and Shagam, have been preparing for a race in Ottawa on the 24th this month. And according to local media reports, she experienced a sudden medical emergency in Ethiopia capital Addis Ababa, and she was rushed to hospital, but that despite the efforts of medical staff. No further details have been made public, and we'd like to send our message of condolence to the family of the deceased, and we hope that she found rest wherever she will be. And basically, that's exactly how it is here on the program, the roundtable. So several things happening in our country, Liberia, and we want to come in with these situations before we jump into our talking points and look out to see if we can have our panelists on the program tonight. Um, and basically, you know, there's a report coming from the court that battle erupts over the late Martyr Brenner's Tottenham Boulevard property. And, it's a major land dispute involving a prime Tottenham Boulevard property once occupied by, CDC. Um, they were the last government we saw before this one. And, it's unfolding that the sixth Judicial Circuit Court to Law Civil Law Court in Montserrat County is over the situation, and the case was filed by Dr. C. Nelson Onyema against the estate of the late Martha's Suffield Bernal and its administrator over a dispute 4.23-acre property located opposite the Cottington Graduate School, Sinker. So, according to court documents, Dr. Oniyama claimed he entered into agreement in 2016 to purchase 8 lots from the estate for approximately 440,000 United States dollars and made payments totaling more than 130,000. However, the estate has challenged the legality of the transaction, arguing that the agreements were improperly executed and that the property was already on litigation before the Supreme Court of Liberia at the time of the alleged sale. So, like the case between the estate, which is the Prime Tottenham Boulevard, property we're talking about that was once being occupied by the Coalition for Democratic Change, now Congress for Democratic Change, was basically into the courtroom where they were fight of the CDC now wanting to leave the property, and the owner of the property then at the time asked that the CDC should leave the property since they can't pay rent. And there were so many tussles. It took some years, and the situation came to a rest where we saw the demolition. Now again, someone is coming out to say that they were being asked to pay 400 plus thousand. That's 440,000 United States dollars for 8 lots, from the estate, and they made 130,000. But they are claiming the in estate administrators are claiming that the payment was made illegally, that at the time they were facing a situation with the CDC, and you going to do a transaction is illegal to whoever you carry on the transaction with, and they cannot be held reliable. That's why they say. But the situation is before the Sixth Civil Law Court of Liberia, and we hope to see what it takes to the Sixth Judicial Circuit Civil Law Court in Maserati. We hope to see the outcome of this matter. The issue of land situation in our country shouldn't be something of just any concern. It should be very serious, and as well as very very important for our people to be able to understand that these situations are important, and you can't just literally want to come and take land issue to be just anything. Land situation matters because it leads to chaos in the society, and we can just sit and look at it. So if somebody is saying that XYZ because of a land situation, I believe that the court needs to do just what is best, and making sure that every party involved is very certified. So this is where we are talking about. At the time, this place was being occupied by the Coalition for Democratic Change, now Congress for Democratic Change, and we have a situation happening in terms of legitimate owner being taken to court, and you know this is exactly how it is. This is exactly how it is. So we also basically look at um, situations, uh, having it's not just about having a company, and so the Liberian Senate has reopened its third legislative session. So basically, they are going to checkmate these companies that we spoke about, like the Beer Mountain, the Ashlar Metar, to be able to identify possible violations and recommend actions to the executive branch. So the Senate pro tempore Senator Nobly Kanga Lawrence also raised concerns over, the continued issuance of work permits to foreigners for jobs, and qualified Liberians are not there to be able to fill these positions. They are available, but they are not given the opportunity. So she prompted on the creation of special committee to verify employee records and nationalities. So the Senate is also expected to investigate the in health sectors by that's requesting list of volunteer teachers and healthcare workers and government paid employees across all counties. So these are areas as well, and so many more. And she spoke about infrastructure and public services are also under scrutiny as communities, and to be able to have a with government's 100 schools excel program. So there are a lot of things that are going to be done in terms of the opening of the session by the Senate pro tem, normally Kanga Lawrence. So we will basically try to get things that are important, and we can go ahead now and see how we can move on with the show quickly. And yeah, that is exactly what it is with the program here tonight. So let's get to one of our talking points, right? Where we wanna how you call it, right? It's not basically right. Okay, so this is okay. And the first issue here will be the assistant minister arrest over, the situation over alleged persistent non-support. So, assistant minister for technical services at the Ministry of Information, J. Rufus Paul, having a situation there at the Monrovia City Court. So, um, and I'm being told that the situation is about persistent non-support. So let's see if we can get the photograph of him on here, and while we go ahead with the discussion. So basically, that's the assistant minister for technical services, and you know the the allegations of persistent non-support involving his wife and 8-year-old son is a serious issue. And the complaint was filed by Decanty Brown Paul under Liberia's Penal Law Section 16.5, and it claims that the official allegedly failed to provide financial support and care since February 2026. February, March, April, May. 3 months now, or better close to 3 months. And the legal implication of persistent non-support under Liberian law. What is the legal implication of persistent non-support? So we will take them bit by bit, and then we get to the bottleneck of the situation. What is the legal implication of persistent non-support? We want to look at that firstly, and then we can now move on to the next talking point and the next one. So we'll look at the legal implication of persistent non-support, the social and moral responsibility of public officials towards their family, whether public officials, public office holders should be held to high standard. Of course, yes, they do need to be held We've had tender because it's essential and important for all of that to happen. And yeah, gradually we will look at them and then we can move ahead with the program. We'll also look at the growing concern about child welfare and parental responsibility in Liberia. A lot of mothers have been left single to take care of their child or children, single parenting, and should government introduce strong enforcement mechanism for child and family support cases? I think a little is there, but I think some strong penalties needs to be added in terms of making sure that these people will be able to understand that. So how can you balance, your private family matters and public, accountability when government officials are involved? These are things we should also be looking at, and basically, in as much as is a situation. So the legal implication of persistent non-support under Liberian law include, possible criminal prosecution for parents or spouses who deliberately fail to provide financial support and care for their dependents, despite having the ability and legal obligation to do so. So, criminal prosecution will be given to you once you have the ability to take care of your child or children and you abandon them. You will have, you know, some level of criminal prosecution or criminal prosecution, not even some level. So these are things we will look at when these situations of what to government officials. I do believe that government officials earned enough that they can take care of a whole family, not as compared to a police officer that is in the traffic. You are an assistant minister for technical services. You earn enough to be able to take care of your family. You shouldn't be dragged to court only because you cannot provide for your 8-year old minor. I think if this allegation is proven to be true, the court needs to take serious action and they should send out curfew to all public officials, not just public officials, but all men that are getting these ladies pregnant and shy away from their responsibilities. I think it's so important that these mothers and their kids are given care and the necessary attention they need. So it's important, and I think this should also be something that the law will not just see one side of the situation, but will definitely be able to, you know, go ahead and show justice can prevail and justice will definitely be done to all. So it's prudent enough that the court is going to give the right judgment in terms of this situation. And some is saying, it's Liberia, and I would say yes, Liberia. Some is saying a Liberia government legal system is enough to protect. Of course, the legal system do not joke with women and children's situation. And I think one person who did enough in terms of partnering with the international community for the protection of women and children rights in our country is former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf when she brought about so many laws favoring the females just after our 14 years of civil conflict between ourselves. It shows how great it was. At first, it shows some level of one-sidedness in terms of just mainly focusing on females' situations in our country. But as time goes on, we began to realize that it was prudent enough because these are females. They are kids, minor, and the parents, the mothers, especially the mothers, do not have the same strength as compared to the men. So I think our legal system is enough to be able to protect women and children cases, especially for the legal system in our country. It's enough, it's even more than enough to be able to give the necessary judgment when these situations unfold against mothers to be able to just stay alone and take care of their kids. And sometimes we should also look at it this way. It's not because a little situation happened too between you as a married couple, and then you literally wants to run to the court because you no longer want the marriage again. And instead of asking for divorce, you're now using the child situation to get at the individual too. So there should also be something we should also look at thoroughly before making these situations and decisions and comments as well. So it's enough. And yes, of course, our legal system is really, really enough. I think persistent non-support in Liberia is common, and mainly you find this among the common people who do not literally able to provide for themselves, who barely have a job, not just a job, but a fitting job to be able to provide for they and their family. So because of that, you have a man trying to shy away from his responsibility of taking care of his child and his wife. So this is one reason why we of persistent non-support in our society. So because of this, we literally says all boils down to mainly people who barely able to, provide for themselves will have these situations to court. And at the end of the day, it is what it is. And and let me say this before we run to the LEC situation. The issue of child support or persistent non-support is seems to be very, very common in our society in Africa as a whole, in Liberia. Because I'll tell you for free, if you out there in the West and you are on child support, it gets to a total burden situation for you. You have to work. You have to work very, very hard. Double in making sure that you get out of that, and also double in making sure that you cater for you and that child. And mainly if the child is still on the age, the child gonna stay with the mother. We make sure to provide all of the basic needs of that child. And this is where it comes in, where the mother or the court will tell you what to be able to pay. So the issue of persistent non-support is very common in our society because we do not see this as enough for being able to prosecute these people because the society itself do not give the citizen the opportunity to be able to provide fully for its family. So at the end of the day, government will not do more to embarrass its citizens as well. So let's run up to the Liberia Electricity Corporation. When I talk about LEC, I feel it's very bad, and I really won't talk about LEC before the Gary Carter right now, right? So the House of Representative, summons LEC boss over persistent power outages, and trust me, right after my show, we'll have LEC going. Sleep in the heat, daybreak, someone in the brink of. What you gotta do, occur when you're about to leave home, go to work, go to school, go to your business center. Then they will take it from those places you are going and leave it home just for no reason. So the House of Representatives summons LEC Managing Director Mohammed Sharif. And let me post Sharif picture on the screen. So we all who do know and do not know Sharif Mohammed can be able to say, oh, yeah, this is the man who always giving us current, chooses not to give us current every time. So that is the LEC boss, Mohammed M. Sharif. And let me comment, right? It says, you know, ongoing electricity instability affecting homes, hospitals, schools, and businesses. That's one reason why they have summoned Mohammed Sharif. LEC, a worse than often, a worse than Benesi Papi in a local Liberian way. The thing about it is that when this Mohammed Sharif guy, who is the boss of LEC, was acting in this position at the time, we actually enjoy electricity. The thing about public officials in our country, the more of R7 situation than doing the typical job. Why was it at the time that you provided us untouchable, unbreakable, and very stable current when you were acting? And what happens when you turn to the managing director proper? Did you change overnight, Mohammed Sharif? What actually happened? That's my question. What actually happened? So, concerns raised by Montserrat County District 8 Representative too, he questioned surrounding promises made during the LC Boss Senate's confirmation hearing. Talk about how he was going to make current stable. Is it because of the economic impact? Why what are some of the challenges facing the Liberia electricity? We already know they say the hydro provide 50 or whatever megawatt to Liberia. Now they are working on solar farm. Now we have current coming in from this country. All of a sudden, getting cut the ass off. All of a sudden, Africa reduce the ass. What is it that we need to do? It's not just about depending on other people to support. We understand these things happen in real life and it happens in other places. But what are the measures? LEC do generate revenue, a lot of revenue. Look at PowerTech. Remember, Super C is PowerTech. And I think that's one area we actually need to checkmate. There's a lot of fundings coming in from PowerTech. There's a lot of fundings coming in from people buying electricity on a daily basis. Just in 2 weeks, I had to recharge close to $40 because I want to enjoy a car. But you recharge, the car now off and on. Imagine that. Your hard earned money, you can't get stable current. I think Liberia now should turn a country that we start suing these people. I'm being real. You gave us a R7 working condition. And when you got the job, you change over to Mohammed Sharif. And I think the representatives needs to checkmate you properly to the letter, and make sure that you tell us whether the government is not investing enough in the country's energy sector. Maybe the total budget, the money they put there ain't enough to make us expand the hydro. What are measures we can do? What are things we can do? Is it only rainy season when waterfall or rain falls so bad that we have stable electricity? What can we do now? What can we do to be able to have, you know, should we have an irrigation process that we can let water flow to the hydro on a regular basis to provide electricity? What are measures? Let's look for a long-term solution than these short-term, depending on other countries, will not help us. Just little conflict we went into Guinea, I can say that bluntly. Guinea cut their electricity they were providing to us. Africa will say, whatever happens, happens, and they reduce that. What next? Are we waiting for the hydro to spoil first? They say we want to repair it. How big is the solar farm? What's the capacity? How long and how much of a current would the solar farm provide for that country Liberia? These are things that the lawmakers needs to ask you, Muhammad Sharif. These are basic necessity. We shouldn't beg as citizens for these things. Government should be able to provide them to us. While we pay for these services, we need them to be provided. LDC is not doing just to we as citizens. And I think the courting and or whatever someone they have summoned you is essential. And you need to go and tell the lawmakers, not just the lawmaker, but the Liberian people, what is wrong. Others were dead. And we had this same reoccurrence of the situation. Now you went there and said you was going to fix it. What is wrong? Tell us. Tell us what is wrong. And we're basically going to listen to that. And let's see if we can be able to fix the situation. It's not just about today. It's not. We want a situation that we can tell for the future. We need a situation that we can continue for the future. Our country, Liberia, depends on these institutions to make the country better. Citizens do pay their hard-earned money to recharge, buy meter, and do whatever. And at the end of the day, you have electricity coming in as if to say we are backing our country, our government, and these institutions for them. We pay for these services. They're not given free to every citizen. We pay for these services. Even your own meter you buy, they on the property of Liberia Electricity Corporation, but it takes fundings from you. They take $150 just to give you meter, and they say property of the Liberia Electricity Corporation. But yet and still, we do not have what we need to have. Yet and still, the government through the Liberia Electricity Corporation is not providing the basic necessity. It's not providing current as expected. It's not providing the electricity to schools as expected. It's not providing the electricity to hospital. What happens to somebody in the ER when electricity goes off? How long will it take to put on the next generator you have as standby? Do we care to think about these situations and think about remedies to help curtail the reoccurrence of these situations? Are we there to blame it on other? Or we come in to fix the system? You come and promise us better electricity. We can see nothing. I think the lawmakers have summoned you, the House of Representatives, through Representative Prince Tools. I believe you need to answer all of these questions to the citizens of Liberia. They need a total answer. What is it? Basically, what is it that we need to do? Tell us. Tell us. Of course, yes. Hell yes. We do deserve answers to these questions. Our country depends on electricity. Our people depends on electricity. The hospital, the schools depends on electricity to be able to function properly. And if come on man, I just believe is I don't know why I just believe the summer is just a mad bluff to, you know, tell the Liberian people, oh yeah, we caught a man and whatever. We literally should be able to understand the facts. And if not, to set the fact straight to us and the lawmakers. Let the man go. Find someone else that can change the system. Find someone else that can use these fundings coming in. You have donors putting in money as well. The World Bank, the EU, a whole lot of partners investing their funds into electricity. And you here talking about the system. That's how you met it. Who needs to do better? As a country, Liberia needs to do better. And I think basically that is it. Of course, So we've been on the program. Let's take this break. Once we get back, we try to wrap it up from the show, the round table. My name is William McGill, and it's a pleasant time to be on your radio tonight.
I can't stand no more, cause no more food. I cannot go to school, cause no more money. I can't stand no more, cause no more food. I cannot go to school, cause no more money. Hey yo.
And I cannot stand no more because there's no more food and no more money. So indeed, it's been a great time on the program, the round table, and thanks to all of you for coming on. And this is how we end tonight's edition of the round table. We want to thank all of our distinguished, viewers across Liberia and beyond for joining us in discussing these important national issues. Conversation like these remain essential in strengthening accountability, promoting public awareness, and encouraging constructive dialogue in our society. So remember, the future of our country depends not only on leaders, but also on informed citizens willing to engage in meaningful discussions about the issues affecting our nation. On behalf of the entire production team here at Wizz TV, I'm your host, William McGill, saying thank you for watching. Stay informed, stay engaged, and continue to make your voice count. Good night, and God bless Liberia. Bye-bye.
I wanna how you make your headlines in the press release today. Although I read the news every day, but I'm really still getting confused now. And I just wanna ask you some questions. Oh, is it based on money? Is it based on presidency? Is it based on technology? Is it based on war? Tell me, we got major headlines. Oh, we got major story. Yeah. There is no job, no money for hustlers. We got major headlines. We got major story. Yeah. There is no job, no money for hustlers. Come take a coverage, the rainy season coming soon. In the ghetto, all the houses are full of leakage, nowhere to sleep. Come and see the widow, living in the street with her children. Since the daddy went to war to fight, he never lived to see them. The children have no shelter, oh, children have no education. The children have no one to call their friend, the children have no food to eat. We are bigger than oh.